So I'm pretty annoyed because I read on a forum this morning, or on a Facebook group rather, that the Welsh for jellyfish is Pysgod Wibbly-Wobbly.
Is it genuinely?
No, it's not. I'm really annoyed that someone would tell me such a wonderful thing that turns out to be false.
Yeah, you'd swear you're on the internet, man.
But like, there's so many like actual good words in Welsh. Like microwave is popty ping.
Oh, it's not a popty ping, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Do you know what the Welsh for jellyfish is then?
I ascertained this by going to Wikipedia and like finding the Welsh version of the article, which I think that's actually a really kind of useful way to check things like this by checking the Wikipedia articles in other languages. So it's actually something like Sleflin 4.
Right.
Which isn't nearly as good.
What was the purported word on the Facebook group?
Pysgod Wibbly-Wobbly.
We may have a title for this episode there, right there, Bill. That's brilliant. Oh God.
I'm actually just going to check Google Translate for a second now because see what that directly translates from in Welsh.
What Pysgod Wibbly-Wobbly does, or whatever it's called.
No, what Sleflin 4 translates as.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, apparently Sleflin by itself just also means jellyfish. So, hold on. And the reason I ask is because do you know what the Irish for jellyfish is?
I have zero clue.
And this is actually accurate because I remember doing this in school and in Irish college and stuff. The Irish for jellyfish is Smuggle-Rarone.
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 Okay.
Which means seal snot.
That's ridiculous. Oh, that's brilliant.
What a great name for a jellyfish.
Yeah, this is true. Oh God, I must find out what it is in other languages as well. I have no idea what it is in German.
Well, I mean, I have the Wikipedia page open. Let's find out.
We all know how much you love Googling while doing the podcast.
Qualla.
A koala.
Yeah, Qualle.
All right. Oh, that's not nearly as exciting. Oh no, I'm disappointed with you, German.
What's tier? Isn't tier in German something like that?
Isn't a tier an animal?
No, like the German word for the English word tier.
Oh, jeez, I don't know. You'd swear it was German, man.
I know. I'm only basing that on a Rammstein lyric.
All right. Okay. How about we move the conversation on from jellyfishes? Jellyfishes? Jellyfish.
That's a good question. I would say jellyfish. Yeah.
Do you want to go Google that?
What is the plural of jellyfish? I'll just put in jellyfish Wiktionary.
Jellyfy.
What's your preferred plural for octopus, Edgar?
Octopi.
Octopi.
Yeah.
I like octopodes.
Oh, I didn't even realize that was a thing.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree that octopuses is not good.
No.
No, we don't like that. And then having octopus...
Although it is acceptable, like it is an accepted plural. Yeah, for jellyfish, it's jellyfish or jellyfishes.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, no, I like jellyfy. I'm going to stick with jellyfy. I'm going to make him a thing. I'm really glad we hit record for this.
I'm very glad that we hit record as well.
This is a cool little segment.
Octopuses, octopodes, or octopi.
Yeah, no, the first is awful.
I like octopodes.
I don't think anyone should use octopuses.
Right, well, before we started recording there, you heard me have some problems with my headphones.
Some problems, yes.
So what happened was I was on the bus up to the airport, and for the listeners who haven't followed any of this, I was recently in Helsinki. And I got up at like 3 o'clock in the morning to get the bus up to the airport to fly out to Helsinki.
Oh, that's nasty.
And sitting there in the airport lounge, I arrived like way too early to board. So I had like 2 hours before the boarding even opened. So I thought I'd listen to music to pass the time. And I'd gone and left my headphones on the bus.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
And were these a good pair of headphones?
No, they were like they were 20 quid Sennheisers, so they were okay. Like they were pretty good quality, but not like
Studio quality or anything.
Yeah, not like wicked expensive, but still kind of annoying. So I was going to duty free, and I went to WH Smith's or something, and I bought an identical pair, like a literally identical pair, the same color and everything.
Right.
Of these 20 quid Sennheisers to bring to Helsinki with, so I could listen to music. And then coming home a few days ago, just from being in town, I left them on the bus.
Again.
Yeah.
That's terrible, man.
Yeah.
To be fair, I've left a camera on a train before.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah, and that's like, this isn't like a crappy little camera, like this is like a proper Canon. I got it back, which was good, but that could have so easily put a huge dent in my bank account.
I'm really annoyed though, because I'm usually really good for not losing things. I very, very rarely actually lose stuff.
Maybe it was the excitement of going to Helsinki, Bill. It threw you completely.
No, I think it was because it was 5 o'clock in the morning when I got there.
Right, okay.
And I'd only slept for like a few hours. And I'd kind of been sleeping on the bus, so I was sort of, trying to wake up and gather all my things. At least I didn't leave my boarding pass or passport or something behind.
Oh, I have stories on that. I'll tell them after you finish your thing. So, for people who are new or for people who have forgotten, you were in Helsinki. Why were you in Helsinki?
I was going to a conference called Modern Heavy Metal, Markets, Practices and Cultures. That was held in the Aalto University in Helsinki.
So tell us, how did the conference go?
It was absolutely brilliant. I've been to one such metal conference before, or a one-day symposium back when I was in the University of York, which got me into the whole field. But this was brilliant. It ran from Monday night to Friday afternoon.
Okay.
Monday evening to Friday afternoon. So there was 3 full days of conferences, of conference papers and speeches and things. And then a few things on Monday evening starting us off. And then on Friday was a documentary day. So we watched 2 documentaries about metal. But between, in the evenings after the papers were over, there were like gigs and things organised. So I saw some pretty good bands, because I didn't actually get to go to a festival yet this summer, and I probably won't at this stage. So it was nice to see some music while I was away. And on the Thursday night, we did a cruise all around the coast around Helsinki.
Oh, that sounds really nice.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Cool. And Ed, did you discover any new bands that you particularly liked?
I did. I discovered a band called Ranger.
Ranger?
Finnish, kind of thrash. I'm quite into a band called Goathor at the moment, who've got this like real good energy to them and real good kind of production and stuff. Now they're more black metal, but there's kind of a bit of a similarity in their stage presence and in their kind of energy with the music, kind of a thrash version of that. So.
And were these guys at the conference as well?
No, they just played the Tuesday night gig.
Okay, all right, cool. And I assume you gave your paper at this conference, yes?
I certainly did. My paper on Botswana, which I've discussed here a few times.
So how did that go?
It went pretty well. It got a good reception. I had presented on a lot of this stuff before. There was only a few new things, and I got some good leads to follow up on, and there were people saying things like, this should be the topic of a PhD, which is, I think, quite a good thing to hear about your research.
Wow. Would you ever be interested in pursuing a PhD on the back of that?
At some stage, yeah. Now, I on Sunday, I flew from Helsinki back to Cork, which is in the south of Ireland, for anyone who doesn't know.
It's a whole separate country. It's not really in Ireland.
It's like the very bottom of the coast, the very south coast. And I gave it again there at the last day of a conference in the University College Cork.
Oh, you never told me that. Oh, cool.
Oh, did I not? Yeah.
No.
So I flew from Helsinki to Cork and had to find my hostel pretty much at midnight, and then get up first thing in the morning to be on the first panel in the other conference. So it was pretty hectic. But I had people saying similar things to me, that it would be a good topic for a PhD.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like really stupid because remember I said before that I thought this idea was crazy.
What idea?
The idea of doing the metal in Botswana.
Did you?
Yeah. I discussed this in the podcast before. When you initially pitched it to me, I was like, I don't know. And I was so off the mark.
Like, you thought that no one would be interested in it?
I just thought it was really difficult to do and really out there. And I suppose I just didn't understand it. So I thought, okay, this could crash and burn. But clearly not. That's really cool, man.
Yeah, I'm pretty pleased. So, yeah, if ever I do go back to do more academia, that's probably looking like a likely topic for me to cover.
How probable is the going back to academia?
Haven't a clue, man.
Haven't a clue. Okay, is that based on what? Based on like cash or based on wanting?
Just wanting and all, like, all of the other things that I want to do career-wise and artistically and that sort of thing.
Okay. I cannot wait to go back to academia.
Oh, you planning to?
Yeah. Oh, did I never tell you this?
Maybe.
All right, okay, well, take a seat here, Bill, and listen to Edgar ramble on. I have kind of a 3-year plan to get out of where I am now and back into academia.
Okay.
And that involves going to Sweden and studying something to do with astrophysics there.
Okay, you mentioned Sweden before, I think.
Yeah, so that's because I like what Sweden is and what it stands for, and its education system is free, which is great. All you need to do is to be able to prove that you can live in Sweden without, scrounging off the state. Mm-hmm. That's where the 3-year plan kicks in, because it's going to take me about 3 years to save enough money to go over there.
Okay.
So that's the ultimate goal, and I cannot wait for the day where I'm on a plane and leaving and going back to college. I love education. So your paper went down fairly well. Were there any other papers that you quite enjoyed? Anything particularly outstanding?
Yeah, there was a lot of varied stuff because it's metal studies is obviously, it's a study of a cultural idea, of a cultural object, heavy metal and extreme metal and all that kind of thing. So there's a lot of different approaches to it. It's largely rooted in sociology and anthropology. So there was a lot of that kind of thing. But there was a few very good papers. There was one from a visual artist, a painter, a guy called Tom, who was doing research into battle jackets. So
hang on now, what's a battle jacket?
When you see dudes at gigs, you see images of guys with the denim jackets covered in patches.
Oh, are they called battle jackets?
That's called a battle jacket, yeah.
Oh, I had no idea. Okay.
Yeah. So he was really into that, and he was doing a PhD by research of this. So he was taking a lot of photographs of people's jackets and then doing paintings of jackets, and then doing paintings of jackets but with names changed to reimagine other things.
Oh, right.
That was really, really interesting. And he did a study into the sort of the folk craft culture of it and how it has certain parallels to biker jackets and military insignia and things.
How do you mean folk craft culture? I don't understand that.
So that it's like folk art. It's not. It's still art, but it's not art from an art college or a conservatory or anything. It's just a folk art.
Oh, okay.
Like knitting is, or
this podcast's favorite knitting.
Yeah, exactly. It's a useful item to illustrate certain things. Or maybe you could say tattoos are in a way.
Is a jacket art?
Yes. They're making an item. They're making an artistic item.
I remember years ago someone telling me what is considered to be a definition of art, and that is that the object has to exist for the sole purpose of being artistic and have no other function, which is why you can't call a car a work of art, because it's there to be, it's there to serve a function. It may look pretty, but it's not art. So is that not the same thing with the jacket? It's there to
Well, I wouldn't necessarily agree with that definition, first of all.
Oh, really?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. All right, okay, fair enough.
So furniture can't be art.
So what can't be art?
Furniture.
Furniture, yeah, I think under that definition, furniture isn't art. And I would never really look at a chair and go oh, that's artistic. I'd be oh, it's well crafted and it looks pretty. But I'm not that's a work of art.
Yeah, I mean, I recognize a sort of a potential distinction between something that is artistic and something that is crafted. But
yeah, I think that's what I'm getting at here with this definition, yeah.
I don't know, and it's still created with artistic processes because the patches have to be sewn on and they're assembled in certain ways, and it can still be looked at from a kind of the same way you'd analyze art.
So what's not art, Bill? Name something that's not art. A spoon can be art.
Tree.
A tree is not art. But aren't there...
Like, it's a ridiculous question.
No, I know, yeah, what is art is a terrible question. I know, it's like the same as like, what is music? You know, it's just, yeah. But yeah, no, I suppose it is very, very tricky. I don't know, just because it's clothes, I'm kind of like...
Sound intentionally arranged with aesthetic intent.
Is how you define music.
Yeah.
That's not bad, actually, isn't it? So, back to Helsinki again. Did you get a chance to go around Helsinki? What did you think of the city? Would you recommend it to anyone who's looking to travel places?
I did get a bit of a chance. Now, I didn't get to see everything. I saw quite a lot, and I think a lot of people were saying you can see most of the good things in a few days.
Okay.
I arrived there on Sunday night, and I found my hostel pretty quickly. So I left my stuff there and I went for a bit of a walk, and I saw the Sibelius monument.
Okay, so I'm assuming this is just a monument to the composer, yes?
A monument to the composer Sibelius, yeah, which is pretty cool. I might throw up some of my photos on Imager, and you can link them in the show notes.
Yeah, definitely, that'd be really good.
No, I'm not a particularly good photographer, but you can get an idea, and you can just Google it or
we'll
whatever.
we'll just put them down as holiday pics. Then they don't need to be like particularly artistic photographs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the Sibelius monument is pretty good. It's like is this thing that looks kind of like a little clump of trees made out of pipe organs, made out of like the pipes from a church organ.
All right.
So that's kind of crazy. Then off to the side, there's a sort of a blob of metal with Sibelius's, like a sculpture of Sibelius's head in it. So he looks like a really cheap Star Trek villain.
Class. I already like the statue.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see anyway. And it's just really pretty. That bit of the city is like lots of parks and things. People walk with ski poles.
People walk with ski poles?
Yeah, they walk around with a ski pole in each hand.
Was it snowing?
No, it's the height of summer, man.
Why do they have ski poles?
I don't know. Apparently it's called Nordic walking.
You're kidding.
And this is a thing that people do, apparently.
Huh.
Yeah.
That I didn't realise this at all.
And
do
you know what I saw that's even better? And apparently they do this in Canada as well.
What did you see, Bill?
People rollerblading with ski poles.
What?
Yeah. So I saw a guy like rollerblading uphill using the ski poles to get him up.
That's mental. Like I suppose I can see why uphill is good. You get to have poles, but like, is Helsinki a particularly hilly city?
Not really, no.
That just seems like cumbersome. Like, why bring extra stuff with you on your commute to work? You know.
I guess they're keeping up the ski pole as a physical skill while it's the summer, so they don't get rusty in how to use them.
Oh, that's mental.
Isn't it crazy?
That is really, really crazy. And was this the vast majority of people doing this?
Oh, no. Like, you'd see it maybe with the same frequency that you'd see people going for a jog in Dublin. Maybe a bit less.
Okay.
But still pretty notable.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah. That's really cool. And anything else about the city?
Well, on the first day, so that was what I did on the Sunday night, and I noticed all these people with the ski poles. On the Monday morning, I got up early and I went down to the harbour and I got a ferry to Suomenlinna.
And you're going to have to explain what and where that is.
Suomenlinna is a fortress built on a little group of islands just off the coast of Helsinki.
Oh, boom, now we're talking. How is the fortress?
Class. So cool. You get a ferry out there. It takes about 15 minutes. And it's part of the integrated public transport system. So you can, get your ticket for the day, get a bus or a train or a tram, and then get the ferry out to this fortress.
Brilliant. That's really cool.
Really cool. Scandinavia, man. It's brilliant.
Scandinavia really is the best place. It really is. Or actually, technically, you weren't really in Scandinavia, man.
I 100% was.
You were in an area called Fennoscandia, according to CGP Grey.
CGP Grey can say whatever he wants.
But apparently,
I'm pretty sure Finns consider themselves Scandinavian, but not Nordic.
Apparently, though, the the peninsula, the Scandinavian peninsula, is called Fennoscandia. And I think what did he say? When you include Denmark in the distinction, it becomes Scandinavia. And then if you include the others, like Iceland, it becomes the Nordic countries. I can't remember exactly what the video said, but I found that really interesting. Fennoscandia. But anyhow, that's an aside. So tell us about this fortress.
So Suomenlinna is a fortress that was built by the Swedes in the late 1700s, mostly by a guy called Eresvard, I think.
Oh, just him on his own.
Karl Eresvard or Gustav Eresvard. Well, no, he was the leader of it. He was like the general or the admiral in charge, or the marshal or whatever.
I am well aware that one cannot build a fortress single-handedly.
Not outside of Minecraft.
Not outside of Minecraft. Even then, you sometimes need other people.
And it's built on this group of a few interconnected islands, and it's just really, really cool. So you get the ferry out there, and there's all these old buildings. There's a military museum. There's a museum inside a submarine, which is pretty great.
Oh, wow. That's really cool.
Yeah. There's a toy museum. I didn't get to go into the toy museum.
Wait, hold on. Back to the sub for a second. I assume this sub is not submerged.
No. It's up on the beach.
Oh, submerged would be cool.
It would be. There's a lovely old kind of church on top of a hill, which is also a lighthouse. That's pretty great.
Oh, cool.
And then you can just wander around the island. There's these sort of cliff walks, and there's no ropes or safety barriers or anything. It's just a sign saying risk of falling. So kind of, if you do this, it's your own fault.
Brilliant. That's great.
For part of it, there's like these beaches, and above the beaches, there's artillery batteries.
Oh, wow.
That's like pointing out into the Baltic Sea.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't know when. I think they probably date from like the Second World War, thereabouts. Maybe the First World War.
Yeah, well, one of the great wars, obviously, yeah.
Yeah, one of them. And there's just loads of little restaurants and things on it. It's really pretty as well. Like there's all these, fortifications and stuff, but the walks are really, really pretty. And I saw a hare. Like
as in the animal, the rabbit type thing?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Is this a particularly amazing thing in Bill's life?
Well, it's like, you don't see hares very often. I mean, I see rabbits a lot more frequently than I see hares. So
what's the distinction? One's bigger. Isn't a hare much bigger?
A hare is bigger and hares run. They don't hop.
Oh, so I probably haven't seen a hare then. I know I've seen rabbits.
Oh yeah, you see rabbits all the time.
I may not have seen a hare. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, they're bigger, and this one was kind of lean looking. Apparently, that's the main pest animal in Helsinki.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so instead of it being stray cats or feral dogs or, swarms of rats or anything, they just have too many hares.
Oh, it's so cute.
Yeah, I know, it's a much cuter problem to have than,
isn't it?
Rabid terriers.
We have, around our house now, we've have a slight weasel problem.
Really?
Lots of weasels. Or, now, they could be, what are they called, stouts? Stoats. There's a couple of weasel-looking things. I don't really know that much about
various
weasels.
Things from the family Mustelidae.
Did you know that, or are you Googling?
No, I knew that.
In any case. Yeah, so I don't know the difference between weasels or stouts, whatever, but there is... Stoats, sorry. But there is a lot of those animals around now, and I don't know why. It seems like it's the first year. It's crazy.
I know there's mink in various places in Ireland, but I don't know if they've ever been, wild, because they're not native. So I wonder if they're, escaped mink. Are mink
also shaped like weasels and whatever?
Yeah.
Okay, so then it could well be mink as well, because I was told that these things are vicious and you shouldn't go near them.
Oh, minks are absolutely vicious, yeah.
Yeah, so perhaps it was mink. I don't know. They're quite cool looking yolks from a distance, like.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go near them. In fact, I don't usually tend to go near very many animals. I hate animals.
Really?
Oh, they're just... Because it's nature, man. Like, what? Oh, I don't like nature, really. And the outdoors and all these things that'll give me diseases and kill me. It's awful. So anyhow, back to Helsinki, right? So we did the fortress. We went to the statue. We had a conference. We gave a paper. We listened to other good papers. We went to some gigs. All was well in the world. Did you perhaps manage to go to a supermarket?
I did.
You were in a supermarket.
I was.
Great. And in this supermarket, was there a confectionery section?
There certainly was, Edgar.
There certainly was. And did you stop for a moment in the confectionery section and think of your dear friend Edgar?
Yes.
You did. And in this confectionery section, while thinking of your dear friend Edgar, did there happen to be some licorice? And in particular, a certain type of licorice called salmiak?
There certainly was.
Oh, was there really?
Yeah, I have here 2 little packets of Pudokumi salmiakki.
F*** off. I was just doing this to call you out and make you feel embarrassed and air. You genuinely bought me licorice.
Yeah.
Oh, bro, you're a good guy.
No, not a lot. Like, I grabbed some on the first day because I saw it, and then I didn't think much more of it. But yeah, I've got a little bit here.
Oh, that's amazing. And it's proper salmiak. Like, it's not like the crappy licorice we get over here.
Well, it says salmiakki on it, so...
Brilliant. Oh, Bill, you're so good. How do I get it off you? You live like 200 miles away.
I don't know, and I still have to give you your Christmas present, so...
You have a Christmas present? For me?
I told you that.
Oh, I don't remember what happened last week, to be fair.
Yeah, well, I told you this at New Year's, which was the last time I saw you, so...
Oh, that's way more than a week ago, Bill.
You're not
amazing.
wrong.
Oh, I must maybe come up to Castle Bill and pick up and raid through his stock of Edgar-related goods.
Your various gifts from my travels.
Oh, like, genuinely, thank you so much. For the listeners, you can find various licorice-related comments through the various Artifexian places on the internet. I really like licorice. It is one of my favourite sweets. In Ireland, we have terrible licorice. Not nice licorice at all. On the continent, in continental Europe, you can buy a thing called salmiak, which is like this super salty licorice, and it is delicious. It's easily my favourite thing ever. And so when Bill went away, I jokingly said, "Can you please pick me up some?" Not expecting anything. And he actually did it. Isn't he a great guy, listeners?
Isn't he just?
Right, anyhow, anything else to add on Helsinki then?
You know how I'm very interested in form as a composer?
Yes.
And these, like, my whole thing is like how you present ideas and the order things are presented in is very important to the shape of music.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, like if you put the big final chorus of a song, you know, the big drama bit at the start, the song would be terrible because it would be in the wrong order. It wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
Things like that. There was a paper on what was called terminal climactic forms in rock music or in heavy metal music. And this is a term that was invented by a rock critic a few years ago. And he said this was a thing that happened, you know, in the 60s and early 70s and then didn't really happen in the 70s and 80s. So in popular musics, form is usually verse, chorus, verse, chorus.
Yes.
These are songs that undercut that. So you might have verse, chorus, and then something completely different happening at the end. Or you might have a sort of rhapsodic form that doesn't have repeating sections.
Okay.
Or then there's totally other things as well. It's like things that are utterly crazy that are very difficult to find the form at all. So all of these would be terminal climactic forms under this paper's definition.
I don't understand the words terminal climactic.
Like terminal as in it ends, and climactic kind of also as an ending, and it's subverting the expectations of the form.
Okay. Alright, okay, cool, yeah, I got it.
Now I'm extemporizing the explanation here. It makes a lot more sense when you read it in the paper.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But this is the thing that I'm very interested in, you know, as a listener and as a composer. And I've had this thing for about a year now, maybe, that I've wanted to write about this with regards to Pantera, because I think a lot of Pantera songs do this. They end with new material.
Oh, yeah. No, there is a couple of... Yeah, you're right.
You've noticed that, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Their endings are definitely non-standard, yeah.
There's like an outro riff, which will be unrelated to the other riffs.
Yeah.
And actually, it's noted in the appendices for this paper as a band that do this. So that was pretty interesting. And it obviously touched, as I said, on a lot of things that I care about in music that I write and music that I listen to. And the guy who gave the paper was also a composer.
Oh, very cool.
So we had a lot of very good chats about various things.
Like a composer of contemporary classical music.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
In your own writing, do you have any form that you particularly like to play with? What do you find interesting? Or are you very much still finding your way and trying to find something that you really identify with?
It's something that I think about, but I don't think about with kind of that level of specificity or reference to existing patterns necessarily. It's just that I like to be very clear on what the material is and what order material is presented in, and when new ideas enter, how the audience will perceive them.
Okay, right. So you care a lot about form, but you're not really that interested sitting around thinking about how to define what it is you're doing.
Yeah, I'm not really that interested in saying, in analysing my own use of form. I use, like, I'll do it a bit to help me write the piece, but, you know, that's up to musicologists.
Yeah, I was just about to say, we gotta leave something for future musicologists to be baffled by.
Exactly.
This is true. This is true.
I mean, I do think about it to an extent. Like, my prelude and fugue.
I do, yes.
Yeah, the fugue is written to quite strict fugal rules.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But fugue implies form anyways, you know?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm using a form there. My horn concerto the first movement is broadly in a sort of a rondo form.
Okay, alright. Oh, wow. I didn't realize, I knew you had a thing for form, but I didn't realize you thought about it this much.
Yeah. It's a large concern of mine.
In my writing, I didn't really think about form too much at all. It just wasn't my thing. I was more interested in like pitch structures and using them to perhaps define form. But then again, I was never that good a composer, so you know. I don't know.
You were, man.
I'm
sure you still are.
Mediocre at best. Anyhow, so do we have anything else to add to this wonderful Helsinki trip?
It's expensive.
Is it? Compared to Ireland? Ireland's like the most expensive country in the world. Like, it's ridiculous.
No, it isn't, man.
That's an exaggeration, but it's very expensive here.
Not compared to Scandinavia.
Really?
Nope.
Oh, I looked up housing prices for Sweden, rental prices. And now, I didn't spend many hours like, you know, looking, but the initial impression I got was that they came in like a little bit under what it is we pay in Ireland. Food
is very expensive there.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not great.
Guess how much I paid for a pint of stout?
Okay, all right. So assuming it's expensive, obviously, you said it is. So maybe, okay, I'll give you a crazy number, like €9.
9.40.
9.40. That's very steep.
Yeah,
that's very steep.
Now it was in kind of a reasonably expensive bar, and it was a reasonably expensive stout, but still. That's a lot for a pint of stout.
That is a lot compared to what is it? Here it's like, what is it? 4.95?
Depends. Like, usually around a fiver.
I think Guinness is just under the fiver. So that is quite expensive. Very expensive. Do you know how much beer is in America?
Pretty cheap.
Is it pretty cheap? Like much cheaper than here?
I think so.
Do people drink Guinness in America? Is this a thing? I seem to always have this image of Americans just drinking like pale beers.
They do a bit, yeah.
Okay, all right.
I think.
Man, I'd love to go to the States someday. I gotta get myself to the States. You know, when Artifexian gets really big, when I go to VidCon, it'd be great. Oh boy, is that never gonna happen. But anyways. So Bill, while you were off gallivanting around Fennoscandia, I was busy at home having my mind blown.
Were you?
I was. One of my videos, The Object, the short story by Eric Lang, got featured on the front page of the videos subreddit.
Yes.
Which was really, really cool. And I think that was probably the highlight of what happened to me since we last spoke.
That's really good, man.
Yeah, it was epic. It was really cool. I was looking through I'm a bit of a stats nerd. I love looking at stats. So very often if I have nothing to do, I'll just go onto the analytics side of the YouTube channel and just look at stats and monitor them. And also YouTube gives you a real-time function where you can see the views coming in real time, which is just so addictive. So I was looking at this and then I noticed, I was like, this is like the object was getting very, very high views for what I was used to. And I was like, this is really strange. So I tweeted Eric, the author of the object. And I was like, did you get featured anywhere? And then he was like, not that I know of. Let me check. And then he went off and checked and came back. And then he was like, no. And I was like, yeah, I just checked. I didn't get featured anywhere anyways. And then we're like, And then we spent a good maybe half an hour like searching the interweb for anything anomalous. And we couldn't put our fingers on it. And the views were still flooding in. So then I was like, just really flippantly, I was like, sure, I might as well check Reddit. You never know. And then it was there on videos. It was crazy.
Nice.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. I will say, though, I feel a little bit bad.
Why?
Because so far, the video has gotten just over 50,000 views.
Wow.
Yeah, which in my book is just like, that's unheard of. I mean,
Your most viewed video then, is it?
oh, by a long shot. Like, the next one is the one that got featured on Vsauce 2. And that's at 13,000 views.
Right.
So it's a good bit more. So after, like, it had kind of calmed down, I tweeted Eric again and was like, are you getting any traffic on your site? And then he was like, nope, none. So I feel really bad because I feel like almost like I'm freebooting his material because he wrote the story, he narrated the story, and all I did was drew silly pictures and I get like, you know, the internet coming over to my page. So if anyone, the people who are listening, if you haven't already done so, please go and check Eric Lang's stuff out. I'll throw a link in the show notes. His stories are great. And if it was up to me, I would probably animate every single one of them. Like, they are awesome. So please do, because it'll make me feel an awful lot better. And I apologize profusely to Eric. I was like, dude, I'm so sorry.
There's nothing much you can do about that, though. You know, that's just when you collaborate this way, it can go either way, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And I think as well, like, people aren't great at clicking through.
Yeah.
And that's not like, I'm not saying that's bad. I'm not saying these people who came over from Reddit are bad. It's just that, you know, you click on what it is you see, you know? Like, they see...
Yeah, it's just the nature of the medium.
It's the nature of the medium, exactly. So I do want to implore people, go over and check his stuff out. He has a relatively new story out, which is great. It's either about a zombie apocalypse or Twitter. Which is, it's just awesome. I loved it. It was so good. So please do check him out.
Zombies, something I'm very, very fond of.
Everyone loves a good zombie, you know?
I think a lot of people think that they're kind of played out at this stage, but I don't care. I just think they're such good story ideas.
I think so too. The only thing zombie related I don't like is The Walking Dead.
What don't you like about The Walking Dead?
It's so dull.
You think so?
I think so. Now, in fairness, I stopped watching, I think, in season 3. I think I just had enough of it. It was a zombie show without any zombies and a ton of farming. Like, lots of people were farming and standing over fences having discussions with one another. And I was like, I get this. I get, you know, like the whole, like, narrative of how society plays out in a zombie apocalypse. But, like, I'm here for the zombies, people. Like, give me the zombies.
Oh, man. The end of that season.
Yeah, no, well, this might be true. I've had a lot of people say, like, oh, you know, when they go to that prison place or whatever, it gets really cool. But I'm like, I really don't want to sit through, like the guts of 3 seasons in order to get the payoff of what is promised on the tin, if you know what I mean.
My issue with The Walking Dead is, well, first of all, the women in it are useless for so long.
Oh, yes, this is true. I remember that, yeah.
They're just, there's no good female characters for ages in it. They take way too long to be badass.
Right.
And the other thing, like, a lot of the time, the bad guys, I kind of agree with the bad guys up until the point where they just decide to do this one really evil thing.
Is that not a positive point, no?
No, because they're so right, and the good guys are, like, being stupid and impractical about everything. And then the bad guys are like, oh, well, no, it would make a lot more sense if we did this, but also I want to kill you and take everything you have. Or also, I need to have your wife. Or there's a really bad example in the first half of season 5. I haven't watched the second half of season 5 yet, but there's a really, really bad example. And I'm like, why would you have everything running perfectly and then, like, spoil it with this one incredibly evil thing that you're doing?
Yeah.
Very frustrating to watch.
Well, I found it frustrating to watch as well, for different reasons. So I don't think it's something I'll be revisiting, especially because I'm right in the middle of watching another really frustrating TV show.
What's that?
Voyager. Edgar, let's bring back the Star Trek section here, okay? Edgar has finished Deep Space Nine.
What did you think of Deep Space Nine?
Deep Space Nine, in my opinion, and I am really sorry, internet, please don't send me hate mail or anything, is much better than The Next Generation. And that's really controversial to say, but I love Deep Space Nine. Deep
Space Nine is really good.
It is really, really good. There's problems with it. Like, one big problem is that it takes about 4 seasons to get going.
Do you reckon?
Yeah. No, when Worf and the Defiant show up, it gets really good. But
Right.
before that, it really struggles to find its feet. And then the first half of the last season, season 7, is pretty dodgy.
Right.
Yeah, it's not great. And there's a few dodgy characters in Deep Space Nine that aren't great. But overall, it's wonderful. And it blends like religious themes with sci-fi. I mean, it even gets a bit kind of like magic-y. Like when they have like those jewels of magic energy, and it's just so good. And then each of the races, they don't fulfill their stereotypes, and by the end of it, they branch out and break out from what a Klingon is and what a Ferengi is. It's just beautiful.
Okay, that's interesting, because that's one of my kind of problems with a lot of sci-fi and fantasy is these sort of homogenous races. You know, all elves are the same, all Twi'lek are all the same, or whatever. That's good to see that in DS9 they expanded a little.
Yeah, I won't spoil it for anyone, but pretty much everything you think you know about a race gets destroyed by the end of it, and you're made to really...
Good.
Yeah, it's really good, and you're made to rethink the entire like universe. It's really good. And then also, what happens to Sisko at the end is great. And again, I'm not going to spoil it. So if you haven't watched it, watch Deep Space Nine. It is great. And then don't do what I did and then immediately go on to Voyager. Because I literally, the same night I finished the last episode of Deep Space Nine, I was like, oh, okay, it's not bedtime yet. I'll watch Voyager. And oh my God, is it so frustrating and really, really tedious. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, we've talked about this before. I think I've talked on the podcast before. I'm not a big... How far are you into it?
I am about midway through season 2.
Have you noticed what I've been saying about how there's only a few episodes?
Oddly enough, not. No.
Okay.
Like, every time there is one of those episodes, I was like, oh, this is the medical emergency episode. But at no point was I kind of going, oh, here we go again. My problem is more that it's just not original. Like, there's nothing new about it. Like, it's the original series in the Delta Quadrant.
Right.
You know, they all go around, they explore a new thing every episode, and yeah, it's the same thing. And like Tuvok is just a Spock analog.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and precisely an analog. Like his facial movements are exactly Spock, and his delivery is exactly Spock. You know, if you're going to have another Vulcan, play him a little bit differently.
Like, there's things I did like about it. I actually quite like Janeway.
I was just about to say, Janeway, I think, is a good character, yeah.
Janeway's a good captain. And I like, is it Ensign Kim?
Yes, he's the guy on Ops. Yeah, he has the gold uniform.
Yeah, and he plays the clarinet. He's a jazz clarinetist.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet. Oh, there you go. Ah.
You see that later on. And at the time when I was watching Voyager, I was quite into the clarinet, so...
So you bonded with Ensign Kim?
A little bit. And I like, there's kind of some good tensions at the start, like in the first season, between the Maquis members of the crew and the Starfleet members of the crew.
Yeah, I thought that was very good. Without
but
that
defuses quite quickly.
Yeah, now you see, this is another one of my problems. Any sort of conflict they set up, it seems to just go away so fast.
Yeah.
Like, within about 3 episodes, I felt like that the Voyager crew were perfectly happy to be 70,000 light years away. like there was no real, like, it was mentioned in dialogue, like Janeway would say, oh, the crew is struggling, but you don't see it. Like, we're told it, but you don't see it.
Yeah.
Which I think is awful, because there's so much to be exploited there, you know, like the idea of loneliness and being stranded and how you cope with that. But everyone is all happy-go-lucky within 3 episodes, and you're like, Jesus, Voyager.
And that has been done well. I mean, like, Battlestar Galactica does that well. Like, you see, in a very real way, you see the problems people have.
Yeah, like, those people, like, they look exhausted and world-weary, and you can tell that this is not what they want. But Voyager's like, oh my God, look, there's a cloud of space dust. Let's go off and investigate that. Yay, guys.
Exactly.
Like, oh no. Oh, Jesus.
And I think even Stargate Universe did it okay.
I've never seen Stargate. That's the next up after all the Trek.
I've mixed feelings about Stargate. Some of it's really good. There's one really good storyline in the like in SG-1 around season 4 or 5, I think. But I'm not hugely keen on it overall.
I've been told by a friend of mine that SG-1, in his opinion, is one of the greatest things ever. So
it's got a big fan base, all right.
yeah, so I'm holding out hope for that because like people usually rate Voyager way above Enterprise. So if I don't like Voyager, I'm not going to like Enterprise. So I'm really hoping SG-1 after that is going to be good, like.
And are you going to watch all the films as well?
Possibly. I don't know. We'll see. I have to like do some time management on this because there's a lot to watch and a lot to rewatch as well. Because ideally, I'd like to rewatch Battlestar Galactica, but that's another chunk of it. And then if they bring out the new Star Trek, whenever that's going to happen, like that's automatically going to take over from the list of watching. So
another series or another film?
Another series.
Oh, is there plan for another Star Trek series?
Yeah, I'm not going to say too much about this because I'm not that well informed. From what I see is that some fan wrote some fan fiction. And I think, is it Paramount? I can't remember the studio. Decided this is actually quite good. And they've called them in for talks on setting up a new series.
Wow.
Yeah. And one point I remember is that I think it's going to be galaxy agnostic. So it's not in the Milky Way, apparently. It's just meant to be in a generic galaxy.
Okay, so it'll be like a different canon.
Could well be. I don't know much about it at all. This is all of what I just said is based off one article. And we all know how famously the internet misrepresents everything.
Yeah.
So I don't know much about it. Apparently there's plans for a new one. If that comes out, that's going to take precedence over everything else I need to watch on my list.
Of course, yeah.
But I am going to hold out hope for Voyager. I'm going to stick true because, like I said, most Star Trek series, with the exception of the original series, take a couple of seasons to get going. And I want to check out 7 of 9 and her story arc.
Yeah.
Before I even consider quitting. So I'm going to be in it at least until season 4 because she's in 4. So yeah. So there you go. Didn't like Voyager. Still going to stick at it because I am a masochist.
And you have to wait around for Species 8472 as well.
What is Species? What is that?
They're just a kind of a cool alien.
Okay, cool. Don't say too much. I don't want any spoilers.
I've mentioned them once before on the podcast, so this isn't a spoiler if I say it. They're the species that have 5 sexes.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're talking about that. Yeah. Yeah. So that's another thing to look forward to. I'm hoping Voyager picks up. I want to like Voyager. I want to like all Star Trek, Bill. But it's making it very, very difficult now. Anyhow, so yeah, that's us. We were Bill was away on his travels in academia. I was behind my laptop sorting out the wonderful fallout from what happened with Reddit. And yeah, that's pretty much us, I think, isn't it?
That is us. Edgar, can I pick up on something you said there? On a single word that you said.
Oh God, okay, yes, go for it.
Do you know what word that is?
No.
Fallout.
Do you want to talk some Fallout?
I'm really excited, Edgar.
Alright, go on, talk a little bit of Fallout.
Well, you lived with me for a while.
Yes, you did like Fallout.
And I really like Fallout. And so E3 is just over in the last few days, I think.
Yep. Very exciting.
About 2 weeks ago, they released the trailer for... Oh no, about 3 weeks ago, they released the trailer for Fallout 4, which is going to come out in November. And at E3, they had gameplay footage and a lot of information about it, and I'm super excited.
Does it look good?
Looks real good. It looks real, real good. For anyone who doesn't know, Fallout is a series set in the United States after a nuclear war. I think the first one is like 100 and something years after the nuclear war, and now they're up to about 200 odd years.
Okay.
And there's been... kind of, I suppose, 4 or 5 games in the main sequence, depending how you look at it. And it's got all this lore and backstory built up over that time. And it's got this really interesting aesthetic, which is the idealism of like 1950s McCarthyite America, but with advanced technology. So all the cars still look like, from Back to the Future, when they go to when they go back to the 50s and Back to the Future, the cars look like that, but they're powered by little fusion reactors.
Ah, that's really cool. I've never played it, so that sounds really cool.
Yeah.
It runs on the same game engine as Skyrim, doesn't it?
Yeah, the current developers are Bethesda.
Just as a slight tangent, and you can go back to talking Fallout after this. Did E3 mention anything about Skyrim?
No, they're working on Fallout instead of the Elder Scrolls at the moment.
Okay, I could really do with a new Skyrim. Because my Skyrim is broken.
Oh yes, yeah, I remember.
I've played so much that I can't, like, when I load up the game and like it goes in world, so to speak, if I take one step forward, the whole thing just crashes. Like, it's awful. The lag
sucks, man.
Yeah, it's awful. The lag is huge and annoying, and essentially it's unplayable. So I could do with a new Elder Scrolls thing. But anyhow, Fallout.
So yeah, that's probably a good example of the kind of thing we're talking about a lot with world building. It doesn't tie itself down to any notion of scientific accuracy. It's built a lot on kind of pulp science fiction ideas of the 1950s about what science would be like.
Yeah.
So, you can die, you can get radiation poisoning from too much radiation, or it might turn you into a ghoul.
Yeah, scientifically accurate.
Yeah. And lasers and plasma weapons and everything. And they do some interesting things with, how the world would, like, what would happen afterwards, and how the societies rebuild themselves and history repeating and things like that.
See, that stuff would appeal to me way more than the kind of like lasers and ghouls.
Well, I mean, lasers and ghouls, it's just, that's just flavor. I mean, you could build a pretty good game with that, just as you can with, like, Draugr and crossbows.
Yeah.
Although they don't get crossbows in Skyrim until the expansion pack. But anyway, I would recommend it. I would definitely recommend it.
I'll probably buy it, I reckon. Along with Final Fantasy VII.
Yes.
Now, I'm really, really excited about Final Fantasy VII because this was like the game of my childhood. It was awesome. I wasted so many hours of my childhood playing this game.
They weren't wasted.
They weren't wasted, exactly. They just all went into this disc that now no longer exists. But what you call it?
Gone but not forgotten.
Gone but not forgotten. I'm really excited, but I'm filled with huge trepidation.
Why is that?
Because everything I've revisited in my 20s from my childhood, I just don't like as much anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like another great game from my childhood was Final Fantasy X. Like, I love 10. And then I replayed it again last year, the remastered version for the PS3. And it wasn't as epic as I remember. It wasn't as big. Yeah, and it probably is because, like, in the eyes of like a 9-year-old or whatever, a game that takes, I don't know, 60 hours to complete feels like a lifetime,
Yeah.
Whereas 60 hours for someone in their 20s is nothing.
It's a couple of weeks.
Yeah, exactly. It's nothing at all. So my worry is that they're going to remake it, and it's not going to live up to what I have in my head. And that's one worry. Another worry is that they'll try and mess with it.
Yeah.
That's a big worry. Like, they really should just the exact same game, except with super graphics. Like, don't try and add in stuff. Don't try and change stuff. The game is, like, borderline perfection.
There's so much, like, expanded universe for Final Fantasy VII already.
Oh, is there? Have people expanded it?
Yeah, there's like loads of loads of other games following other characters, and there's Advent Children.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Have you ever seen Advent Children?
Yeah, I've seen it. It was very unremarkable.
Boy, it's silly.
Yeah, it hasn't even registered really with me. It's not a thing that I really know much about.
There's a few things I remember, mostly in the because I think you have to like really know the lore to make sense of it. Which I don't. I mean, I played Final Fantasy VII as a kid, but that's about it. So it's the visuals and the kind of the over the topness of the combat, like how at the end Cloud essentially has this, like, uses his limit break, but it's on screen and you're not in control of it, so it's just really weird. Like his sword splits into 7 different swords which hang in midair as he uses each one of them in turn.
Yeah, I remember not being too thrilled about that film. But there you go. Let's hope they don't mess it up. Let's hope.
Let's hope.
There's a lot coming up that could be messed up. Like, I don't want to get into it, but Star Wars. is another thing that I have great hopes for. But it could so easily just be another train wreck.
Yeah.
You know, so this could turn into a very eventful year or two. Or it could just be an absolute disaster.
Well, George Lucas is involved, but not in charge, which I think is probably the ideal situation.
Yeah, no, that's true. But they also have Abrams doing it.
Oh yeah,
and
J.J. Abrams, God.
We do know that Abrams has an old taste for the lens flares. And that could, he could butcher things with his lens flares if he doesn't calm down. Like Star Trek being a good point. Like, Star Trek is hideous. I can't remember which movie it was that Abrams did, but that one... Oh.
He did Star Trek and Star Trek Into Darkness.
Oh, he did too, yeah. But they're disgusting, like. They're just not good. But, actually, here's another thing. I guess we are talking about Star Wars then. The next Star Wars, after the one that's due to come out in December.
Right.
As far as I know, that's going to be directed by Rian Johnson.
Yes.
Of Brick fame.
Of Brick, I know.
I know, right? When I seen that, I was like, no, this isn't the same Rian Johnson that Bill, loves. But yeah, no, it's the same dude, so that's going to be really interesting.
Rian Johnson, who directed Brick, and that one episode of Breaking Bad that everyone hates but I love.
Oh, the episode with the fly.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's the worst episode in Breaking Bad.
So good.
No, man, you're so wrong. I'm so sorry. I remember watching that and being like, wait a minute, someone's ran out of storyline and this is a whopper of a filler.
I loved it.
I must watch it again.
Even before I knew it was him, I just remember watching it and the tension between the two guys. Oh, I just thought it was marvellous.
I'll try and watch it again, but I wasn't impressed the first time around.
And the other thing, my other worry about, well, I suppose, you're not really wrecking a legacy in the same way here, but J.J. Abrams' Star Trek movie is misogynistic trash as well. So I would like if the new Star Wars film wasn't, quite as terrible to women as the Star Trek movie was.
Yeah, again, there's a lot that can go very, very wrong with the Star Wars movie. Mm-hmm. And here's hoping that it does not happen. But, actually, just in case anyone doesn't know about this, Rian Johnson, okay, he directed a film called Brick, which Bill introduced me to it in college. And it is a fantastic film.
Probably my favourite movie.
Yeah, and it's up there with my favourite movies as well. It is glorious. It's like a neo-noir set in this really bizarre high school world. And the dialogue is great. The camera work is great. Everything about it is wonderful. The aesthetics is great because it's all kind of it's high school in the US, but it's all very, very slightly kind of vintage.
Yeah, the dialogue it's very kind of rapid fire and quite quiet, and it's inspired by those old sort of Dashiell Hammett, I think the guy was called. Those movies, those original noir films.
It's hard-boiled mumblecore, I think, is what one person described it as.
Yeah, and it has those stock characters from a high school movie.
Yeah.
It has the jock and the drama girl and everything, but it's not camp at all. There's no. It's not tongue in cheek or anything. It's just dark.
Yeah, and it's really dark. And it kind of does the opposite of Voyager, right? It should be silly, right? I shouldn't feel anything any sort of danger or fear when watching Brick because of its setup, but I do. Whereas Voyager is in a setup where I should feel danger and fear, but I don't.
Yeah.
So everyone should, I'll throw links in the show notes to this. Strongly recommend watching this film. It is incredibly awesome.
I can't recommend it highly enough.
Because both of us have been fairly busy. Mm-hmm. You've been away. I've been doing analytics for ages. We didn't really have time to prepare a proper segment. So I thought today would be the perfect opportunity to talk about distancing Artifexian from the MinutePhysics aesthetic.
Can we say that again without saying that it isn't a proper topic? Because it's perfectly valid, I think. I don't think we should be putting ourselves down.
No, let's just say... No, I don't think we need to say it again. It's just not a prepared topic. This is just us talking about the channel.
Fair enough.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with not preparing. Podcasts by nature are usually unprepared. They're just two dudes talking.
Okie doke.
Yeah, so it doesn't render it invalid or anything. But anyhow, so One of the reasons why I want to speak about this, well, there's two reasons. One is that I kind of set up this podcast to eventually have this discussion.
Right.
Because it allows me to speak at length about the channel. And the second thing is, because of my video going kind of really well on Reddit, I had a lot of comments, and a few of them, actually quite more than a few, were kind of like, this guy is trying really hard to be MinutePhysics. Which I get is a fair criticism. So I thought today, Bill, we'd have a little discussion around how to distance Artifexian from MinutePhysics.
Okie doke.
Okay, so what do you know of MinutePhysics? You know it's a YouTube channel, yes?
I know it's a YouTube channel, and as such it makes videos.
It does make videos.
I'm assuming it's often going to be about sort of physics topics.
Yes, so MinutePhysics is a physics channel, yes.
And it has sort of semi-animated with like stick figures and such.
Right, so almost identical to Artifexian.
Yes.
Yes.
Similar.
Very, very similar. Like Artifexian is based on a video that Henry Reich, the creator of MinutePhysics, made.
Right.
He talked through how he sets up his channel, and I would not be doing YouTube without that video because I wouldn't have a clue how to start filming.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, Artifexian is very MinutePhysics in aesthetic. You watched a video this morning, a MinutePhysics video, yes?
I did.
Okay, I'll link this in the show notes if people want to watch along. What did you think of the aesthetics? Is there anything that popped out to you as being like way different from Artifexian or very, very, very similar or anything like that?
I mean, it wasn't very different. It was broadly similar, but I wouldn't have said it was identical.
Okay, what do you think some of the differences were?
It's drawn differently. Like the stick figures aren't the same. Like it isn't. You can tell it isn't the same artist.
It isn't. Yeah, you can tell it's not the same artist. But it still is the same production technique. If you know what I mean. He uses a little bit more flashy stuff than I do. He does a lot of like cool cuts and animations, which I don't have the skills to do.
Yeah.
I only just learned a week ago how to do transitions. And then I went mad doing transitions in one video. I think a TLDR of MinutePhysics is that it's a guy who draws stick figures to explain a sciencey topic in a stop motion style with jazz music as a backing.
Right, the jazz music, yeah.
Yeah, okay, now, so then if you describe Artifexian, it's kind of like a guy draws stick figures, right, in a stop motion style to explain kind of sciencey topics with jazz backing. Okay?
If you take away the fact that it's animated and you take away the jazz music, you've got a huge chunk of XKCD.
Oh, as in I'm very much like XKCD.
Both of you using stick figures to talk about sciencey topics.
Yeah, that's actually very true, yeah. I'd imagine Henry must have been inspired by XKCD a little bit. I think just about every nerd on the internet is subscribed to XKCD. So I want to have a discussion about how we can move Artifexian away from being almost identical to MinutePhysics.
Okay.
All right. So the first thing, the most glaring thing for me, I think, is the jazz music.
Yeah.
Okay. So at some stage, I'm going to need to remove the jazz music. All right. Mm-hmm. Now, I have tried this loads. All right. This is a hugely problematic thing for a number of reasons. One being that I can't just use any music. You know, I don't want to have YouTube being like, copyright infringement.
Yeah.
So I have to be selective what I choose. So I have to go to the free sites around the internet.
Mm-hmm.
So Incomplete Tech, I think, is the site by Kevin McLeod, I think is his name. And he basically supplies the entire internet with free music. So if you've ever watched a YouTube channel that has music, like 99% of the time, it's his music. And so I went through his entire back catalogue of tunes. Like all of it. I made a little demo clip in between making videos and literally downloaded every song he has and ran it underneath that clip. None of them work.
How many songs does he have?
We're like hundreds.
And you did all of them?
I did all of them. I took a good week to do it. And
wow.
There were some that I immediately knew from listening just wouldn't work. Like kind of like, like really synthy 80s music just didn't work. You know, yeah. I didn't even need to download it and put it into the video editor. But I would say I downloaded at least a good 1 to 200 tunes, I'd say.
Okay.
So I have tried to get rid of the jazz music. It's just not working. And so I suppose I want to ask the question, do you think I should get rid of the jazz music? First of all, Bill, what do you think?
I don't know. I'd have to listen to a bit more or watch a bit more Minutphysics to kind of pick up on the similarity, but I quite like the little tune that you have at the moment. You know,
Yeah,
I've gotten used to it.
Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of people have gotten used to it. But then, I mean, like, you can get used to something else.
That's true.
And if it stops people going, this guy is the exact same, I think it might be a good thing to change.
Have you considered, like, recording something?
Like, me writing something?
Or, like, recording, like, something that's in the public domain?
Yeah.
Like, you and, like, your brother or someone?
Yeah, see, the problem with that is the quality is going to be ridiculous. Like, ridiculously bad.
What recording equipment do you have? Like, the mic that I have here is perfectly good for recording music on. Yeah,
so we've tried recording some music with the mics we have here. Yeah. And it's all not very good. It's all very roomy. You get a lot of room in it. And even with my limited editing skills, I can't get rid of all the room.
Right.
And it sounds really amateurish.
Okay.
Like, proper amateurish. So that we tried that out. That's not really a thing. And the problem with that is my brother is a jazz bassist, right?
Yeah.
So it'll be really heavily jazz orientated and really heavily bass orientated, which is exactly what the music on Minutphysics is.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like, you know, you're kind of throwing away one thing to put in an equally problematic thing.
How about like something electronic?
Yeah, so I'm open to anything, really. It's just that what I've been able to find on the internet free and in the public domain just didn't work. I don't mind what music it is. It could be bloody, I don't know, Renaissance music. I don't care. Mm-hmm. As long as it works. So I think I need to change that. And I would like to put out a bit of a call to the internet. If anyone has any skills in writing music, please write some music. And this also goes for you, Bill, if you ever are interested in doing this.
Sure.
I would love to write some music. So I'm going to really quickly pitch this at the internet and you. If it could be a 30-second loopable track. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. 30-second loopable track that is whatever genre, as long as it fits, obviously. And this is a really key point I've noticed from scouring the internet. If it's in any way sparse, it does not work.
Okay.
And I didn't think that. My natural tendency was to think that the less music, the better, as a little filler. The music has got to be really busy, like surprisingly busy, in order for it to work. Because otherwise, it sounds like there's just these huge gaps of audio in the video. So, 30-second loopable track of really busy background music would be ideal. I just haven't been able to find it. So, dear internet, if anyone writes music, please try and send something to me, because that would really mean a lot, because it would go loads to distancing Artifexian from Minutphysics.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So that's point number 1, the music, which is probably like the easiest to fix. Now, point number 2 is the stop motion.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is problematic, all right? So even if I were to change everything, right? Like everything, but keep the stop motion, it seems like that's pretty much Minutphysics' thing.
Right.
So I think I'm going to have to keep it, but in keeping it, you know, I'm tying myself down. Like, I don't know, what's your thoughts on this, Bill? Like, would you like to see a style change? A radical style change? Would you concern yourself with this? Am I overthinking things? That sort of thing.
I'd suspect you're overthinking things.
Okay.
Now, I've got a bit of a weakness here in that I like things to be sort of consistent. So I'd really like the idea that it had the same aesthetic from the beginning and kept it the whole way through.
Right, okay.
Rather than like changing a year and a half in.
Okay.
And then like changing again. That's just me and my obsession with form. To be honest. No, I mean, I think it serves really well for what you are doing. And I'm sure there are other people who do it a lot. I'd say that even without Minutphysics having existed, this would be an aesthetic that would come up a lot on YouTube, because it's accessible and it requires like it doesn't require a huge level of artistic skill the way to fully animate something would.
Yeah.
It's a technical thing in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And it's a nice balance of those different skills.
Yeah, and it also doesn't require a hell of a lot of knowledge of, say, After Effects, like digital animation.
Exactly. Yeah. It requires. I mean, and this is to no way denigrate your work. I mean, it's you make brilliant content, but it's all stuff that's quite accessible in different fields.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a fair comment?
Yeah, I think that's my feelings towards it as well. Because, again, I've thought long and hard about changing it up completely. Mm-hmm. And anything I thought of made it less accessible.
Yeah.
All right, and as well...
And made it more difficult for you.
I just about to say, it ramps up the production process something serious. So, like, one of the thoughts I had was that I would do a mixture between me being on screen and the hand drawing. So basically, I would record some sections where I would be talking in person behind a green screen. Okay. And then, like, chroma key me onto the whiteboard sort of thing. You know?
Okay.
So if there's any bits where, like, you know, there's been times in Artifexian where I've been like, I don't really know what to draw. You know, like if you're doing a little introductory comment, like what do you draw for a little introductory comment? So during those times, I would pop up on screen, like almost like a Vsauce type thing, and then go away and my hand would take over, which I thought was cool. But that, I tested it like slightly. That makes production so much longer.
Yeah.
Because I have to essentially film twice. I have to film the green screen, take out the green screen, overlay the green screen stuff on the regular video. And it's like, I don't think, like, even if that were to distance myself from Minutphysics, it means that people will be getting a video like maybe once a month.
Yeah.
You know, and then like the internet doesn't like that. Like the internet doesn't like that CGP Grey, for example, only puts out a video once every month. You know? So there's problems there. And then I thought of like doing, have you seen the Nerdist thing?
I don't think so, no.
Is it Nerdist? Is that the channel Nerdist? No, better example. Have you seen Vsauce's Thought Glass, Vsauce 2?
No.
Okay, so Vsauce 2 runs a series called Thought Glass, in which he stands behind a pane of glass and draws what he's speaking about on the glass.
Right.
Okay, which is kind of like a sort of a step up from, you know, paper animation or whatever. And again, that involves investment on my part and time, which would set back production, you know?
Yeah.
So there's a tricky balance between being unique and still being able to get out videos in decent time.
But then you're not being unique. You're just doing Vsauce instead of doing MinutePhysics.
Oh right, no. I would try and do it in a non-Vsauce way. Like that's just a different form of doing it, you know. Like for example, the Vsauce thing. He doesn't draw. He puts up like vinyl. He sticks it on the glass, and then animators afterwards animate the object after he stuck it up.
Oh, okay.
So whereas I would like draw on the glass. And the problem with that as well is that I'd have to try and speak whilst drawing. And if anyone...
it adds a whole performance element to it.
Exactly, yeah. And then I have to dress nice, and it's like, oh, God. And if anyone listens to this podcast, everyone will know how verbally incontinent I am. And this will take, like...
But we like you anyway.
But, thanks, Bill. I'm not sure if that's the sentiment of the entire interweb. But that's okay. But this would take hours and hours and hours to do, and it would slow production completely. So I think I'm going to have to stick with the stop motion hand.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, really.
You don't think it's a bad idea, no?
No, I mean, look, yeah, people might say, "Oh, you're trying to be MinutePhysics," but you aren't. You're just. I think there are other reasons that you're exploiting a similar creative space.
Yeah, I think.
Can you tell that I studied a sort of a liberal art in college, Edgar?
I know, it's great. Like we use like really snobby words so often, like aesthetic and things like that. It's like, oh, sometimes I cringe when I say it. I'm like, oh Jesus. But no, I think you're right, and I think changing it up will be more problematic than keeping it. Mm-hmm. So then I thought, this is me just thinking on air and getting your reactions, okay? So bear with me here, listeners. Then I thought a defining characteristics of his style is the stick figure.
Yeah.
Okay? So perhaps I could keep the stop motion, but get rid of the stick figure.
Yeah.
Okay? Because, I mean, like, for example, Vihart's stick figures are much, much different than MinutePhysics stick figures.
Yeah, that's true.
And yeah, you can immediately tell them apart and you can immediately go, that's MinutePhysics. No, that's Vihart or that's MinutePhysics. Whereas with Artifexian, if you were to put an Artifexian stick figure next to a Henry Wright MinutePhysics stick figure, it'd be a hard time telling the difference.
I mean, as I said, I think you can tell that there is a difference, but...
I think you can tell the difference globally. You know, overall, like, as in, like, I draw things differently and I make use of the space more or less than Henry. We do things a little bit differently, but I think in isolation, just one stick figure against another one, I think people have a hard time telling.
Right, okay.
I could be wrong, but that's just my instinct. So I was thinking about getting rid of the stick figure. Okay? Controversial as it is. Get rid of the stick figure. And because this is sort of like a speculative science channel, putting in a little alien character.
Okay.
So having like the Artifexian alien, which is like, we'll get to the picture in a second, but which is like the stick figure from MinutePhysics, but different. Different enough that it's mine, but similar enough that it harks back to what has inspired me to do the channel.
Yeah, okay.
And so before we started recording, I sent you a picture, Bill.
You did?
I did. I sent you, and I'll link this in the show notes. I sent you a picture of many little aliens.
Mm-hmm.
So, Bill, you have the picture in front of you there, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so do I, right? Let's talk about this picture. Again, for people listening to the podcast in audio form, go into the show notes, click on the link, and you can have a gander with us, okay?
Yeah.
All right, so what do you think of all these little stick figures?
They're
Or all
alright.
these little aliens? Anything spring out? Anything that you think looks stupid? Anything you think looks good?
I think simpler is better.
You think simpler is better? Okay, so what would be an example of simple?
Okay, see like in the middle of the page, there's the one with the sort of is that the Belgian flag or the German flag? I can't remember which is which.
It's the German flag, yeah.
The German flag. Okay, so if you go like diagonally down to the left, that one
Yes.
there. I really like that one.
With the two tentacles.
With the two antennae, yeah.
With a two antennae, yeah. Oh, you really like that one?
I really like that one. I don't like the one right above it because that's a lot more complex. It's got a lot more going on.
Okay,
Like
all
it's
right.
got the little rays coming out of the antenna and stuff.
Right, can I tell you my reasoning behind all the design decisions here?
Yes.
Okay, so clearly it's a stick figure, yeah?
Well, it's kind of a bowling pin figure.
Yeah, well, it's a stick figure with a fat belly.
Okay.
You know, so that was the whole harking back to MinutePhysics. So the reason for the bowling pin belly is that very often the stick figures have two functions in the Artifexian videos. One is to say stuff, so speech bubbles, and two is to hold up signs describing what's going on.
Yeah.
And more often than not, these signs are things like flags or IPA symbols. Mm-hmm. Okay? And I thought to myself, there's no need to have the sign. Okay, like that's just extra drawing, right? Why not make them really fat like a Teletubby? And whatever it is they're showing, put it on their belly.
Yeah.
Okay, so like if I'm saying like, oh, in Ireland, one cannot get licorice. One cannot get decent licorice. The little stick figure or little alien will have an Irish flag on his belly, as is shown here.
Yeah.
So I like that idea. What do you think of that?
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Okay, cool. Because it saves extra stuff and it gives me more space to draw on the page. I think that's a goer. Mm-hmm. Then the antennae, or the antenna, was so that if I say something like, here's an idea, it can go yellow, as in like a light bulb.
Right.
Or if I say like, be careful world builder, don't use this equation to do something, the little antenna will go red.
Okay, that makes a bit more sense.
Yeah, and now I agree with you. The little rays are a bit much. Mm-hmm. But just that the little ball on top will get coloured.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I was thinking that if that was a constant thing, it's too distracting, and no design, like the audience won't care what your design philosophy behind it is, but that you're using it as sort of an occasional or a topical thing.
Yeah, yeah.
That makes sense.
So do you think that's okay?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, now my favourite of these, all right? Like, there's a lot of train wrecks on this page, right? But my favorite is, if you think center of the page,
Yeah.
and the very, very topmost figure, he's completely black and white, and he has the word equation written very near him.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I think that would be final design.
Okay.
Okay, now that's obviously minus the colour of the antennae and the flag on the belly. But I'm thinking that. What do you think?
Yeah, it's good. I personally quite like the slightly more bulbous feet rather than the thin lines, but that's...
Really?
A little bit, yeah.
Oh, okay, because they were one of the things I got rid of. I didn't like them. But that's interesting. I'll see what the listeners think about this. Because again, I was trying to make it stick figure E, but not stick figure.
Yeah.
So, if the Artifexian world, Bill, was populated by one of these aliens and not the Minutphysics stick figure, do you think that would set up a sort of thing that is uniquely Artifexian? I'd like to think it would.
I suppose so, yeah. It would kind of... You'd be using a bit more of a visual brand, and which would be a separate thing to what Minutphysics does.
Yeah, so I suppose if we do that, like if we fill up the world with a different type of character and replace the music, then I think I'm beginning to move away slightly.
Agreed.
Slightly. Oh God. And I love the way as well people are like, this is Minutphysics. Well, I'm like, hang on, Minutphysics doesn't speculate on the nature of donut planets or things like that. You're like, well, this is a speculative science thing, whereas Minutphysics like hard science, So, is there anything else I want to add to that? No. Do you have any other suggestions, Bill? Anything that you can, if I were to go, I need to change this, what do you think?
Well, I mean, are we talking solely about the domain of the videos? Because I'd point out that, or I'd ask whether Minutphysics does a podcast as well.
Well, Minutphysics, yeah, that's kind of a weird one. Henry has been on podcasts before.
Yeah.
And his videos are available in like kind of a podcast format on iTunes.
Oh, okay.
So where people go onto iTunes and listen to us like in audio, people can go onto iTunes and listen and watch the videos.
Right.
But that's becoming a kind of common thing not common, but it's becoming increasingly more common amongst YouTubers because they're looking to diversify and not have all their eggs in one basket with regards to YouTube. Because YouTube is making this is a total tangent, but YouTube is making some really worrying decisions at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then people are getting very, very scared and trying to move away in case YouTube does something truly detrimental. So yeah, Henry Reich does have something in a podcasty format, but he doesn't have what we have.
Yeah. So I know that doesn't necessarily help if people... a first-time viewer comes across your video and says, oh, well, this is just Minutphysics, but there is a difference there, and there is something...
Yeah, and I mean, there is a big podcast label at the end of the video, so I mean, I would hope that people would see that and go, oh, look, there seems to be a little bit more to this. I don't know.
Does Henry Reich have a sweet beard?
He has a beard. It wasn't quite as massive as mine, although I've since cut it now. I don't have a big beard anymore.
It's still there though. It's still
there. I can't not wear a beard. I look a little bit like an alien. Actually, I have no chin. I have zero chin.
You know that picture from about a year and a half ago where you shaved your beard and dyed your hair black? Can you put that in the show notes?
Do you want me to link that in the show notes? You see, no, I'll link it in the show notes, that picture. That's not that bad because I had 5 o'clock shadow. But if I'm freshly shaven, it looks horrendous. So bad. So yeah, I don't think I'll be shaving in a long, long time. So yeah, Henry Reich, does have a beard as well. Which is great. Oh Lord. And this really bothers me, this topic, Bill. It really bothers me because I mean, one of the main things people talk about, and they talk about at the Google event we talked about before, is being unique and not being just a cheap imitation of. And from the outside, Artifexian is a bit of an imitation of Minutphysics, which is worrying. But there you go. So I'll open up to listeners as well. I'll have a look at the link in the show notes to these aliens. I'll circle the one I think is final design. Let me know what you think. And if there is some positive feedback and that it's a goer and all, I will try and implement that in the next video after this is released.
Great.
And then you can sit there, Bill, and worry about how the form has not been consistent throughout.
I will. That'll keep me awake at night.
Or maybe I could take the stick figures and like just really slowly evolve them over a series of videos, so you don't actually notice them growing the big like bulbous belly and the antennae.
Or level them up, like kind of Pokemon evolve them.
Or poke evolve them, yeah. Great. And have an entire video dedicated to the evolution of... begin the like biological exobiology section with how aliens evolved from stick figures. Be great. Oh, another point I meant to say on the stick figure thing. You see the picture again, Bill?
Hold on, I've closed it. I'll open it once more. Come on. Yeah, opened.
Yeah, so on the picture there, Bill, you see the alien that is entirely red.
Over at the right with the question mark for an antenna.
With the question mark. Okay, so do you remember I said about how the stick figures currently hold up little signs? Mm-hmm. And I said it was like flags and IPA and all that. Another one also commonly is the question mark. Mm-hmm. What do you think of the idea of the little antennae effectively functioning as a sign, except without, there be borders to the sign? Like the little ball turns into like an exclamation mark or a question mark and things like that.
Or an interrobang, as I've seen you've written slightly above and to the right.
Have I written I've written interrobang. Yeah, that's true. Or an interrobang. Yeah, I might try and work that in. So what do you think of that? Is that too busy?
No, I think that's good.
You think that's good? So you're okay with the idea of the light bulb on the antenna acting as an emotion indicator and as a sort of like question mark, exclamation mark?
Yeah, I just think like my idea about simplicity was I think just the base idea should be as simple as possible, but then you obviously change and add things to that as required to convey other things. Right.
And also another thing I want to say, what's your opinions on stick figures with faces? No, why not?
Just don't like them. I just don't think it works.
Vihart.
It's too busy. Oh, like in general, it can work, but the one you've given there doesn't work, and you haven't had faces so far.
I had a little bit, a tiny little bit, and then I realized I don't know how to do faces very well. So
yeah, well, I think there's your answer.
well, I can spend time practicing, obviously,
Yeah.
Like I don't know if people realize this. There's some videos where I have to spend time practicing how to draw, quite a bit. Like there was one, I think it was in the colors video. Yeah, it was in the colors video when I'm going to get this wrong because I can't remember what I said. I said that fish are tetrachromats, I think. Mm-hmm. So, they have 4 color receptors in their eyes. I hope that's right. But in any case, I had to draw a fish. And boy, did I not realize that I couldn't draw a fish. I spent a good maybe half an hour, 45 minutes running over like endless series of fish until I was like, no, okay, that looks like a fish. That's good. Which is just mental. Okay, cool. All right, so I think that's about all I needed to ask you, Bill.
Yeah, well, I look forward to seeing where it goes.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. And listeners, please do leave some comments. Anything you think would help distance artifacting from Minutphysics would be really, really helpful. Like seriously helpful. Because people won't click on it. If they stumble across Artifexian randomly, they won't click on it and go, it's just an imitation. They'll be more inclined to stay around. And that means more viewers, and that means more videos. So, it's a win-win for everyone.
Sure is.
Okay, cool. All right, Bill, I think that's about us.
So yeah, fair enough.
Man, you're a devil for fucking Google when we're talking. Do you know that? I could never do that. As incoherent as I am usually, if I were to try and Google whilst talking, oh god, like you'd get a word every 5 minutes or so.